Hi, today I am talking about things that able-bodied people might take for granted. Now, I was thinking about this the other day as I was trying to drag myself out of the bath. I can't take showers anymore because in our bathroom we have a shower that's over the bath. It's difficult for me to climb sort of in and out of it to stand up in the bath and have a shower. It's unsafe for me. It's quite slippery. I don't feel confident when I've got no shoes on, so it's just quite a dangerous thing. So every time I want to wash, which is on a daily basis, I have to have a bath. Just because it's easier for me to sit on the side of the bath, swing my legs around and get in, and then I'm sat down, I'm not worried that I'm going to fall. So I think that's something other people take for granted. My husband, if he's feeling a bit hot or a bit sweaty, or if he's been working out, or if he's been in the garden, or the weather is just so hot that he wants a cold shower, he just jumps in the shower, a couple of minutes, and he's out again. I don't have that luxury. I have to run the bath, which takes a little while. Then I have to get into the bath. Baths aren't quick. And then I have to try and drag myself back out of the bath. It's a waste of water because obviously you use more water in a bath than you do in a shower. Cameo. So it's just a bit of a nightmare, really. And I think people that are able to easily take showers just whenever they feel like it are really lucky. And I think people totally take the fact that they can jump in the shower for granted. I spoke to a few people that can't sort of take baths and showers alone for various reasons because it's unsafe for them. I personally, and I imagine a lot of people are in a similar position, we can't afford to have my bathroom made accessible and safe for me. So it is what it is and we have to adapt. But I really feel that's something people take for granted. So next time you're having a shower because you're really hot and sweaty because we're experiencing a mental heat wave at the moment, just think about how lucky you are that you get to do that. Some of the other things that I feel people take for granted are really silly. So something I've never ever been able to do is wiggle my toes. I've got no free movement in my feet at all. I can't control them, I can't wiggle them, I can't bend them, I can't do sort of anything that, you know, this, can't do any of that with my feet. And I sometimes look at my husband who stretches his toes out because his feet are sore from a long day, and I wonder what that feels like. And I've asked a lot of people actually what it feels like to wiggle their toes, and they can't tell me because it comes naturally to them. They can't tell me what it feels like. And I think that is a huge thing that people take for granted. Being able to freely move your feet and toes whenever you want to. What must that be like? So next time you wiggle your toes, really think about how that feels. Think about how it feels to be able to do that, and imagine what it would be like to not be able to do that. That's such a small, silly thing, but I do really feel that people take it for granted. Other things like I have to sit down to do the ironing because I can't stand up for long periods of time. We tried perching stools. They don't work for me because you have to rely a lot on your own leg strength to use them. So perching stools never worked for me. So I sit on the sofa and I do the ironing sat down. Now, my particular iron and ironing board, when I iron with it and I use the steam and it collects sort of on the underneath of the ironing board on the metal where it hits it and it forms condensation, or sometimes the water drips out of the iron. That means the boiling hot iron water drips directly onto my legs. So after I've done the ironing, I end up with tiny red burn dots all over my thighs because I have to sit down to do the ironing. And again, I feel the fact people can stand up to do the ironing. You really take that for granted. People that can do normal things whenever they want to really are lucky. And I really think that you take it for granted. I spoke to so many different people who find so many different things difficult. People that can't chop vegetables, that are unsafe to sort of cook their own dinner. They have to plan ahead for every eventuality. If this happens, then am I safe if this happens? The sheer planning involved for a disabled person or someone with a chronic illness just to get through their day is phenomenal. We can't just decide, oh, let's go out today, let's go to the beach. No, there's planning involved. I personally have to plan, will there be toilets there? Will it be accessible? Will I be able to access it? Will the parking be close enough? How long are we going to be? How much sort of supplies do I need to take with me? And in the end, it's not worth it because it's not accessible, or there isn't a toilet nearby, or you know, it will take me too long to get ready, so there's no point going. I can't really do anything spontaneously. If we decide we're going to pop out just to the Costa to get coffee, I have to put proper shoes on. I have to go to the toilet first. I have to, you know, there is so much planning involved that I can't just get up and go. Nothing is spontaneous. Someone told me about how they can't just have a night out and go drinking or dancing because, you know, it's just not possible for them. And I think people that can just get up whenever they want and nip to the pub for a few pints and don't have to worry about the consequences or the accessibility or how they're going to feel the next day, you really take it for granted. My husband, for example, as well as everything else, I'm a celiac. I can't eat gluten. So my husband can just go to any restaurant he feels, any cafe, any shop, and he will always find something to eat. I don't have that luxury. If I want to go out for a meal with friends, I generally have to dictate where we go because I need to be sure that there's a gluten-free option there for me. If there's not, then I'm not going to go. And I don't feel it's fair for people to go where I have to go if they don't like it. So I just would rather not go. It's easier. We can't just pop out for coffee. We can't just pop out for a bit of cake because I have to know that where we're going is going to have something that I can eat. And there are a few people in a similar situation to me. You can't just go to the shop, pick anything up. You can't just go into Marks and Spencer's and grab a sandwich for lunch because all that's left is manky old egg and cress. Because people that aren't celiac buy the sandwiches. Stop doing that. You can eat any sandwich you like. Stop eating our sandwiches. Anyway, sorry about that. There are so many simple things that disabled people, people with chronic illnesses can't do that everyone else can do easily, that you don't even think about doing, like wiggling your toes or not having to plan in advance that you're going to need to go to the toilet, or ensuring that you've got help to cook a meal because you're not safe to do it on your own because you might fall or you might have a medical episode, something might happen to you which puts you in danger. You can't just get up and make a cup of tea because are you going to be able to carry it? Are you going to spill it on yourself? Are you going to spill it on someone else? And that's really frustrating, really frustrating. So I'm going to put in now some of the comments, some of the things that people said to me that they find difficult. Please take the time to read them and please think about whether or not you can do those things easily. we worry and plan for every eventuality because we have to. We get fatigued easily, we can't walk long distances sometimes. We have to plan for that, and it makes life 10 times harder. It really does. So not only do we have to contend with a disability, we have to contend that maybe we aren't able to communicate effectively or express what we want effectively or walk around or eat what we want or drink what we want or do what we want. And on top of that, we're disabled or we're sick, and people don't realise how hard it is. So next time you get up to make a cup of tea and you stand in the kitchen and you stretch whilst you're waiting for the kettle to boil, think of me having to drag myself off the sofa because I've gotten stiff from sitting down, and I've had to sit down because my feet are sore, because my legs are sore, because of my disability. I've had to drag myself off the sofa to make myself a cup of tea. I've had to sit back down whilst I wait for the kettle to boil because sometimes I can't stand up for that long without being in serious pain. And then I have to not fill the cup all the way, so I've got a half full cup of tea, because if I fill it all the way and I try to carry it and walk, I will spill it on myself, I'll spill it on a cat. So think of how hard making that cup of tea was for me, and because of my bladder issues, once I've drunk that cup of tea, I have to get up again 10 minutes later to wee because my bladder won't hold it in for that long. So spare a thought for us next time you make a cup of tea, without having to worry about whether you're safe or whether you're going to be able to carry it or whether you're going to need to trek yourself all the way upstairs again in 10 minutes to wee. Or do you just not bother to have a drink, which is what I do. Sometimes it is the simple things that are the hardest things to come to terms with. For example, not being able to wear regular shoes. I've talked before about my shoes. I can't just go to a shoe shop and buy a pair of shoes. You know, that's impossible for me. And I've never been able to wear high heels. I've never been able to match a beautiful dress to a beautiful pair of shoes. And I think that's, again, something you take for granted. It's not just the obvious stuff, like people that can walk versus people that don't walk. That's obvious that you would take that for granted, and you are lucky that you can walk. But it is, sometimes it's the smaller things. It's the not being able to read a book because you're so fatigued you can't do it. You can't enjoy the things you want to enjoy. In some cases, you can't enjoy the things you used to enjoy, all because of a chronic illness or a disability. I don't have a child. I don't know if I ever will. But I often think about, if I had a child, would I be able to carry them? Would I be able to carry them like you see people carrying their babies? Would I be able to hold that baby in my arms and walk around? No, because I'd fall over, I'd hurt myself, I'd hurt my baby. And I think that's something else that often I think about, that I see people just carrying their babies around, you know, and I think, will I ever be able to do that? So yeah, sometimes it's the really big stuff, sometimes it's the really small stuff, like getting burnt legs when you do the ironing. It's not being able to carry my own shopping. It's having to take 50 toilet breaks a day and take 10 times longer than everyone else to go to the toilet, and then everyone assuming that you've had to go and have a massive poo because you took so long in the toilet. It is the things like not being able to wear shoes, or having to inject yourself with insulin before every meal, or having to be careful what you eat because you're allergic to it or because it will trigger a flare-up. It's about not being able to socialise with your friends because you're just too tired. It's about not being able to go out on a night out with your friends because you know you won't be able to walk around and keep up with them. It's about missing out on so many different aspects of life that people don't realise you're missing out on. It's really isolating and it can be really lonely. and I just think that's quite sad. I didn't sort of mean for this video to get so melancholy. I just sort of wanted to give you a bit of an insight into sort of how we might be feeling, and obviously I don't speak for everyone. I can only tell you my feelings on it, but just think about it a little bit. Think how lucky you are to be able to do the things that you can do, to be able to communicate what you need to say if you're feeling unhappy or if you're feeling sad. If you don't have the ability to communicate that, think what that must be like. Think what it must be like for us when you next ask us to go out somewhere with you and we say no. Don't call us boring, don't call us antisocial. Think that actually it might be a real struggle for us to go out and do something. Maybe ask us if there's something that would be easy for us to do, something that we'd like to do that is accessible for us and is going to be achievable. I think everybody has something in their life that somebody else takes for granted. It's not just about having a disability, it's not just about having a chronic illness. Everyone has something in their life that other people take for granted, and I think it's important to realise that everyone has a struggle, some obviously more than others. But the next time you wiggle your toes, or you wear flip-flops, or you eat a big cake with no consequences, just take a minute to think about those people that maybe don't find those things so easy to do. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Drop me a comment below and let me know what you think people take for granted. I'd love to hear from you. I'm sort of really interested to hear the small, maybe silly things that people don't realise you can't do, like wiggling your toes or being able to do your own hair. I have spoken to people that struggle to put their own hair up. They have to rely on somebody else to do that for them. They have to rely on somebody else to get dressed or put their socks on for them. So I'd really love to hear about the things that you think people take for granted. What can't you do that other people can? Get in touch below. I would really like to hear from you. I hope you enjoyed my little chat. Hopefully it wasn't too ranty. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget that you can see all of my posts at www.estellosaurus.co.uk. Don't forget you can subscribe if you want to sort of keep up to date with what I'm doing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!